I'm from Brunswick, Georgia. I was raised with my grandparents, so there were two things that I knew. One, I was not smart enough to go to college, and two, they could not afford it, my grandparents. And at that time, my dream was to be a cosmetologist. And I was going in the military to get money to get a degree in business administration. I joined December 21st, 1987. Not only did this recruiter make sure I got into the Navy, but he also made sure I had a school. So that meant I had a job. After boot camp, I was going to go to school to be a hospital corpsman. And a hospital corpsman has a specialty to it, and you can do almost anything in the medical field. In 14 years, I've done a lot. I worked at Millington, Tennessee, and also Naval Hospital, Roosevelt Roads, Puerto Rico. Then I left there and came to Oceana, so I worked at the clinic in Virginia Beach. Anything in that clinic that you would go into your regular clinic for, we did it. And I worked on a labor and delivery unit, worked over in medical evacuation, so if you were overseas and you needed health care in the United States, I coordinated that for you. I was a CPR instructor, I was a HIV/AIDS instructor, went to EMT school in Virginia Beach, and I stayed there for 2 years, and then I went over to Sicily. As soon as I got off of active duty, I got a job as an administrative assistant, and I was going to go to school to be a nurse. I started at Norfolk State University, and I got my bachelor's in journalism, news editorial, so I had an extensive background in writing. Not math, because I didn't do well in math. That's why I never became a nurse. I got finished with college, and there were no jobs for me. Here I was a veteran. I had 14 years of service. I had an honorable discharge. I had a college degree, and I was not able to get a job. I finally did get a job as an anesthesia technician at Portsmouth Naval Hospital. I was making $10 an hour, and my rent was almost $1,000. I came home one day, and to the embarrassment of my neighbors, and I'm laughing because that is what happened. The note was on the door, and I didn't know when I was going to be evicted. So I had a little bit of money. I went out and got me a newspaper and a cup of coffee. I saw the front cover with this teaching program. I guess that kind of sealed the deal. And so I remember calling Regent University. I began to tell them my qualifications, and they said, you don't need this, you don't need that. And it was almost as if the doors swung wide open. That military training was pivotal. When I started at my first teaching job, they asked me, Miss Bougenoux, what school did you come from? And I said, this is my first. I just had a style that I think they'd never seen before. I could get to the heart of the matter, but I could be structured in that classroom. We had to be on time, and we had to have character, and we had to have integrity. And those were all things that I benefited from, and I credit the military for today. I think my students get 110% of me because they do know my story. And when they say to me, Miss Bougenoux, you don't understand, my lights may have been out. Well, guess what? Miss Bougenoux has been put out, so we share something in common. And what I give them is an opportunity to not give up. And I give them the opportunity to take a moment. If they need to cry, well, you can cry, because that's life. Because of my military experience, because of what I've gone through, they get to see a real person. I mean, on my good days and on my bad days.